This Fletcher Cox situation is complicated, guys. We're about to dive down into some real details about the money and the outlook in the future of this Philadelphia Eagles team, so stick with me, okay? What's up, Eagles Nation? What's going on in NFL world? How you doing, Division Rivals? This is Steven Hyder, Gate City Sports Channel. Sports Channel where the cerebral NFL fan comes for about 10 minutes of daily content. All right, guys, today's topic. We're talking Fletcher Cox and this idea of do you keep him on the roster and just live with the fact of how much money he's making for the production he's going to give you, which I would probably advocate the best solution for Fletcher Cox is to reduce his snaps and make him a more rested and thus hopefully a more productive player versus one-on-one matchups and let Milton Williams and some of these other guys gain more snaps. With that said, there is the other alternative, guys, which is to either cut or trade this young man and then figure out where you go from there. But before you do that, better have the numbers down before you talk that kind of talk, right? I'm here to talk that kind of talk. I got the numbers. You already know me. If you've been here watching me for a while, you know I'm a guy that dives deep into numbers, both analytically, contract-wise, and you guys know I love myself some film study here. All right, let's go and let's talk for the numbers real quick. So what is Fletcher Cox scheduled to count against the cap for the 2022 season? I would caution it's probably not as bad as you think because Fletcher's numbers were up around 20 million or so just a year or two ago. So we're actually down to $14,946,820, which, to be fair, if Fletcher was like really producing, you would love him at that number. But I'm going to tell you where it gets real complex with Fletcher Cox, guys. That dead money is $40,927,760. That's a big, big figure. We're talking a negative cash flow here, if you will, a negative cap flow of $25,980,940. That's big, man. You're talking about sinking almost $26 million, basically. Let's just round that up and say $26 million. You're going to take a $26 million cap hit. How the heck did we get here? You guys know I love me a story, and you guys know I'll do the research for you to tell you the story. The story begins back on June 13th, 2016. That's when Fletcher Cox signed a 6-year, $102.6 million extension with the Philadelphia Eagles. Inside of that included a $26 million signing bonus. You can tell that $26 million doesn't make a ton of sense in terms of how much dead money there is here. Like, what the heck did we prorate? We're getting there. All right, $6 million option bonus, $1 million roster bonus for each season, guys, okay? He had $63.299 million guaranteed, so let's just say 60% of the contract was guaranteed, and that included injury and both just fully guaranteed money. Contract escalators, things in your contract that kind of, the way you look at contract escalators is this. There's a phrasing. It's like an if and then in really complex contracts, there's an if, a then, and. There's a three-part to it, right? So here is the contract escalators for Fletcher Cox. If he is on the roster in 2017, then his 2018 contract becomes guaranteed, his base salary does, okay? And $7.75 million vest into 2019. See how that works, guys? In 2019, he becomes fully guaranteed if he's on. So if he's on the roster in 2018, then in 2019 that contract became fully guaranteed, right? So there's a whole lot of ifs and thens, contract escalators to Fletcher Cox's deal. All right. So where did this all go kind of haywire here in terms of like how do we get to $40 million when he's barely got any years left on the contract? Most of those years are straight dummy years. Well, it all begins on October 16th, 2018. That's when he restructured, from what I can tell, the very first time, guys. And essentially what he did is he took his base salary and converted it all the way down to the minimum salary for a veteran of his standing at the time. It ended up creating like $8.19 million converted into a signing bonus, which then basically gave the Eagles some cap flexibility in 2018 to do some things to, once again, try to chase, a Super Bowl. You guys remember we signed like Mike Wallace. We did a couple things that offseason, right? So, in addition to that, there's an also. Also in 2019, he worked with the Eagles to take 14.67 of his 19 salary and convert that into an option bonus. And then he also added a void year to the contract. So we're restructuring, guys. Anytime you hear restructuring, you hear convert. Generally speaking, you're taking base salary and converting that into some kind of bonus money. If it is a signing bonus or something like that, that means you can prorate the money, meaning I can divide that up over payments. So I can pay you X amount in 2020, X amount in 2021, X amount in 22, 23, so forth, right? You create a dummy year, you're basically tells you right away that you've created a prorated number here. You're adding a year to the contract that has no base salary, so he's not really under contract, but you're still paying the league, even though he wouldn't be under contract. That's what a dummy year is, guys, or a voided year, if you will. The technical term is a voided year. The last step is September 10th, 2021. Fletcher Cox has $14.8 million restructured into a signing bonus, and in 2022, as part of this deal, guys, he also takes $15.9 million and converts it into some form of a bonus. I'm not sure if it was converted into a signing bonus, an option bonus, what it was converted into, but here we go. You take all these figures of the money he did in 18, the money he did in 19, the money he did in 2021, in 2022, you add that to his original signing bonus, and when you're sitting here looking at Fletcher Cox, you're looking at $40,927,760 worth of dead money. That's how you get to these figures. Now, the key here is you want the player to outlast. You want his durability to be there throughout the duration of your contract, but also you want to outpace TV revenue. As the TV revenue hits the league and you get greater and greater increases to the cap, you can kind of withstand these type of things. It's fancy accounting, if you will. The problem is with C19, let's just use one of these crazy little terms they say, or we counted our chickens before they hatched, if you will. So now we're stuck here with this big, big tax bill. So what happens, guys? Let's go over what happens here. So to begin with, his 2022 base salary is only $1.12 million. That's the minimum that you can pay a guy for what he is in this term of his contract. You can't pay him any less than that. He's got to have that on his base salary. So there's no money to restructure for this year. You can't work that kind of workout with him to get more cap flexibility. Okay, so what happens if you cut him? So currently, the Philadelphia Eagles have $24,440,860 worth of cap space. That's according to Over the Cap, guys. Some of this stuff can get fancy. Keep in mind that's not counting your rookie salary pool. So it's a little less than that. I would say you really got about $18 million or so worth of cap space. Okay, if you cut him with a June 1st designation, you cannot. If you cut him outright, guys, you're losing $26 million. Can't do it. But if you cut him with a June 1st designation, so you can divide that money up over 2 years, you actually get back $2 million to this year's cap. Okay, so you go from $24 million to $26,560,860. Significant savings. Okay. With that said, you got to be careful. You so have to be careful, because if you make that decision, look what it does to 2023. You can argue, well, we got the cap space, let's do it. I get it. I hear you. But you go from having $43,325,698 worth of cap space in 23, that's when we can really chase some stuff, to, if you make this deal, you're going to go down to $27,913,548. Still significant cap space, but you ate it. Let me conclude this. Does this mean that the Eagles will not trade or cut Fletcher Cox? I don't think it does mean that, because they know if they can June 1st designate this, something can happen. Now, the question you have to ask yourself is, can Fletcher Cox still help this team do something special in 2022? That's really the question here, because if he can't, it might be worth it to get younger guys into the rotation playing and to free yourself up financially, right? Get you a couple extra $1 million, kind of get yourself out of this cap situation as you go into the long term. Just pull the Band-Aid off, get it over with. Hard to say, guys. This is a difficult situation to deal with Fletcher Cox. Like I told you guys, we only got $24 million worth of cap space. We couldn't even cut him outright if we wanted to, because we'd have to figure out subsequent moves just to get back the cap space we need to operate the football team. Because by the league calendar year, hey man, you got to even the books. The books got to come back balanced. You got to balance the book by the beginning of March 18th. So that's the Fletcher Cox situation, guys. Before we jump off here, let me just stop for 1 second. Man, I love this fire hoodie I got on. This is from today's sponsor, Ultra Game. Guys, if you want some nice, fresh NBA gear or NFL gear, Everything is linked down below. They're giving away stuff for us. Listen to me. If you have not done this, do me a favor. Click off of this video when you're finished, or I'll link it at the end of this video, okay? Make sure you go watch yesterday's video, and I'll link that video. It's the video where I talked about saying goodbye to Brandon Brooks. In that video, if you leave a like, if you comment down below your favorite team, or just a comment, and then if you sub up Ultra Games channel and make sure you're subbed up to Gate City Sports, you will be put into a drawing between January 26th or January 29, 2022 to win a free Sixers t-shirt. They're doing this for us, guys. Come on, man. Y'all in my community, I want you guys to get this kind of opportunity. My guy JJ won an Eagle stuff from them just this past month. And make sure you guys get in on this, all right? All right, y'all, man. I really do appreciate you guys. Hopefully this cleared up a lot of stuff about Fletcher Cox. If it didn't, I'll be in the comment section for a little while, guys. All right? I appreciate y'all, man. I'll see you guys on the next video.